Alright guys, Scrappy again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. After in some metrics the worst map in the history of the Call of Duty League over the last few years, Scrappy has given his perspective on his 6 in 19 performance up against none other than OpTic Texas in the series that Los Angeles Thieves played against Dashy, and the hardpoint will go down in history. 6 in 19 for Scrappy. He reckons though the fans that are criticising him wouldn't even get a single kill in professional matches. Is he onto something here? How many kills would you get in a pro game? Very much interested to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Starting with a couple of interesting talking points around the CDL in general. I know that HyDra's coming up with some show match ideas, but the state of the KDs in the league right now, particularly interesting. We talked about this I think yesterday, but if we look through the top KDs in the entire league, most of the top KDs are SMG players. Now, if you've watched the game so far this year, this shouldn't come as a massive surprise, and even over the last few years, I would say the SMGs have been increasingly strong. Back in the day, let's say Black Ops 2, for example, the M8A1 was the dominant AR weapon in the game. Obviously, it had aim assist pretty much all the way across the map because that's how the ARs were back then. The SMGs did not have aim assist, passes, turns, and range. But even the M8, it was a 3-shot kill, point-blank range, and it was a 4-round burst. Like, it was a godlike gun up close and at range. The SMGs, though, was still very valuable because, especially in those days, the movement you could have with the SMG made up for the fact that it wasn't really the strongest gun. There was viability both ways in those games. You could use different guns, but, you know, generally if I was loading into, you know, public match back in Black Ops 2 or something, I'd tend to use like an AN-94 or some sort of AR, I think is what I lean towards, but the SMG was quicker, so on some maps it made a fair bit of sense to do exactly that. On this game, I think that's very clearly true, that the SMG, given the movement in the game, is right now the stronger gun. If you look at the teams, you look at the players that are at the top in terms of KD, I mean, Shotzzy is having a worldie of a season, right? A 1.21 KD and a 97 Slayer rating, highest in the entire league here, as we've got on the Breaking Point stats. And even by the BP rating in terms of impact is what that tries to show. He is also highest as well, by a little bit of a margin, really. Dashy, the best IR in the game right now by the numbers, he's sitting at a 1.15. Yes, Cellium is making some progress over the last few series he's played. He's at a 1.1, but even then, I mean, Simp's at a 1.08, Snoopy, CleanX, Gwinn, Huke, Pred. Obviously, you know, Pred and Kicks are here, but they've not played that many games, so we can kind of discount them. And even if we go then, if let's say we exclude Kicks and Pred, the top 10 then becomes Beans and Scrap, and then Slashers right there as well. So those guys do get into the mix, but even then, you know, Scrap's at a 1.07, so is Beans. Pretty similar numbers actually between the pair of these guys. Of course, Beans replacing Scrappy basically on that Toronto team. But it's absolutely true that the ARs on paper are not doing as well as they typically have done. And maybe that's perfectly fine. I don't really have a massive issue with it. I do think that the state of the game is probably not optimal because of the way that the pros have done things. And to be fair, because of the way that the developers have done things, but it's not necessarily their fault. So two ways to explain this. Firstly, the pros, when the game came out, were like, wow, this AR is so OP, the Model L, whatever. They banned a number of different ARs. The aMeZ, whatever you want to describe, like pronounce it as, is probably the second worst AR in the game, maybe the third worst. It's one of the weaker ARs anyway, is what the pros use. It's a perfectly solid, acceptable AR, and it's not like it doesn't shoot fast and kill quick and shoot straight, because it does, but it's not that strong in the grand scheme of things to me, compared to some of the other ARs that they could have used. Again, the pros came into the game, they're like, wow, this AR's so OP, and then it turns out the Jackal is the god gun, which shouldn't be a surprise. To be honest, as soon as I picked up the game, I thought the Jackal was like the best gun, and I'm not surprised that's how it's played out. So the pros coming to that very early decision to ban some of the best ARs has arguably unbalanced the game, but maybe that's fine. Maybe the SMG should be just as strong or whatever. As I say, in my opinion, the SMG should be almost impossible to use at range due to lack of aim assist and hopefully some decent recoil that the guns don't seem to have nowadays, but it should benefit by being an absolute monster up close and have better movement. What I mentioned yesterday on the show, and I think may be true, is that if you probably look at public matches, what Treyarch are doing is they're seeing that probably the numbers across the ARs and the SMGs are quite similar. The problem is, for a pro, when they can actually use the movement, the SMG is like so effective because of like, if you watch Shotzzy or HyDra or any of these guys POV, like the way they move around the map with the SMG, you can't do that type of thing with an AR. And it means that, you know, the SMGs are not only just as good, but they also get the other advantages from pro players using them that maybe is not seen from public match players. I will just, you know, because I'm sure you guys are interested, look at the lowest KDs and work upwards. Because for the OpTic guys, for example, they're all at the top, apart from Kenny. And Kenny's at a 0.9, I think. Yeah, here's Kenny, 44. So, you know, not horrific, but not where he'd want to be, obviously. But these are the numbers anyway. Some of them are not pretty. Some of them get a bit better. And when you get to a 1 KD, pretty much halfway through the league, you get Kremp and Mack. Actually, both of the Cloud9 SMGs, very similar numbers, actually. Although both have played well, they've not obviously won every series they've played. Whether there should or needs to be a balancing change for the ARs and the SMGs, I don't know, that's obviously a matter for debate. I just think it explains a little bit of what we have seen on this game so far with, you know, some SMGs, but mostly ARs are on the struggle bus so far in this game. And we saw a pretty similar trend when OpTic played Thieves. The players that outperformed everyone in the series were Huke and Shotzzy, 1.4, 1.3. Dashy had a perfectly good series. He had the most damage in the lobby, actually. But, you know, he had a 1 flat, basically, a 0.98 in the end. Scrappy, 0.87. Ghosty, 0.8. Don't tend to see that particularly often from those players. And I actually think that as this game goes on further and further, it actually might even just get harder and harder for AR players compared to the might of the Jackal and the Omni movement that some of these SMGs are using to great effect. But map 1 was, well, there was controversy all through this series, really. Map 3, there was talk about OpTic's approach and control. Map 4, there was the Dashy snaking thing we discussed earlier today. Map 5, there was the crazy round 11, 1 versus 2 from Kenny. But even map 1, this was the scrap disaster class. Like 6 in 19, 774 damage. Not the fewest kills, I don't believe, in the history of the CDL in a hardpoint. I think there has been less. Obviously, Zuma famously dropped 4, but that was pre-CDL. And in terms of damage, 770 is the worst that we've ever seen in the history of the league. And is by far the worst this year. Envoy, who had 1,700 damage, that's also one of the worst that we have seen in a hardpoint this year. It's like maybe top 10 worst we've seen on this game, but 700 was taking it to stratospheric level. So obviously there was lots of talk about this between the players. Dashy was on stream discussing it and saying, like, you know, congrats to Scrappy for breaking the record, but understandably, like, this sometimes is how things are. Complete stinker map. Sometimes you get caught in the blender, and I don't know, I just don't think it would have happened last year. I think that's my point on the gun balance. It's not like the AR is bad, but it's just the SMG, the Jackal, in combination with the way that the game plays. And also I think the map design is a key feature. It's not just the movement in the SMG, it's also like maybe slightly less John Hacienda, although obviously Scrap dropped 6 kills on this map, but the movement plus the way that the map design is, the small maps, the, you know, it's not really so true as it used to be that you've got 2 opposing head glitches, that it's impossible to breach that gap with an SMG. Like back in, you know, a proper COD, like Black Ops 2, in my opinion, like a game like that, if someone was set up on a head glitch with an AR, you just can't chow them as an SMG unless you just want to die 90% of the time. And that's how it was. And therefore, SMGs had to, you know, create space. They had to move intelligently. They had to take routes that would allow them to close the distance on those players. And that's how the game used to be played. Not the case nowadays. You just take the gunfight and your gun's better anyway. So, you know, I sound like a main AR here, like main AR propaganda. But I do think there's some evidence to support that the game could be balanced a little bit better right now. But whatever, it's still entertaining. And Scrap dropped 6 kills. So it's the worst performance, at least his worst performance in the history of the CDL. But Scrappy explains it and says, you know what, it's not as bad as you guys think. He actually goes through the VOD and kind of goes through his life by life, and he says, all right, at some point when I was in a bit of a blender, I did start to make some bad plays, but I just, you know, had, from Scrappy's point of view, a poor start to the map, which isn't necessarily massively unexpected. It happens sometimes, but it's the reaction there that wasn't so good. His opinion, though, is that us fans watching wouldn't get a single kill if we played in the game.
See, 700 damage. Exactly. Bro, you know how little amount of people you gotta see to get 700 damage? You're getting 6. Yo, I bet you none of you are getting literally less. Bro, none of you are getting 1 kill in a league match. I don't want to hear shit. That's trigger discipline, right? That's what I'm talking about. First death. Like, where is everyone? I'm mid-map squaring. Where is everyone? Look at this. Like, timing. All good. All right, 0-2. Number 1, 1 shot. 1 shot. I have an AR up close against a sub. It's okay. That's a fine death. I'm trying to bang time. That's okay. That's not getting shit on. There he is. There's my one. Look. Look at this. Where is everyone? Look at this. Bad timing again. Just picked up you. 2-7. This was when I was like, I'm in a fucking blend. I need to run it time, right? Look, right here. This is a bad play for me. This is a bad play for me. I should be probably wrapping back, helping for, you know, like, creating more structure behind our push, but I'm losing full. I'm like, holy fuck, we need, like, some hill pressure, bro. We're getting soaked on P1, bro. I need to run at the time. Run at the time. Check the wrong corner. This is me. Remember, losing full, trying to hit the time. Slide in, open. Guys on the side, bro. Look at this. Look at the trade. Relax, Kyler. Like, what are we doing, bro? I'm literally frying you. Now my screen, right? Now I'm already 5-15. Look. Look, I just heard Brandon. I get a cruise from this. Then I'm getting back-to-back cruise. I'm like, holy fuck. All right, let's see what I do here. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, rotate. Look at this, bro. Yo, you guys actually, yo, JP, you're dead ass watching this? Look, JP, you're in here, right? Yo, JP, how many gunfights, bro? You're the ops too. How many gunfights? Bro, yo, Dill, I'm actually watching. I think I got in about 7 gunfights. At least you have the most minutes. Well, fucking let's go. Let's fucking go, baby. I got that 60 seconds on the clock. All good. We're down 150. Is it true your neck and meat both 12 inches? You tell me, bro. I do got a long neck, bro. At least I know I can model turtlenecks whenever like I need to. If this ever, like, you guys say, like, I'm gonna be putting fries in the bag, like, hell no, motherfucker. I'm gonna be modeling turtlenecks. Calvin Klein gonna pick me up, and I'm gonna be a turtleneck fucking model. None of you can do turtleneck modeling because you don't got a fucking long ass neck.
So how many kills do you guys think you would get if you were to spawn into that lobby? If you're, let's say, an AR player, you replace Scrap for the game, how many kills would you get? I mean, I'm certainly getting single digits. I don't know, like, could be 0. I don't think it's 0. But, you know, you guys, some of you probably played against pros in public matches before. I think it is, until you play a pro, you don't quite understand how much of a level difference there is between pro players and, like, you know, the normal players that you might play against in whether it used to be game battles or just top, like, public match kids or whatever. The couple of times I played, I remember Bance was on my team at one point. I played a pub against Octane, and it is a bit of a different game when you play these guys. So the idea of playing against a 4-man competitive unit, one of the best teams in the world, I'm not going to get many kills. I'm not going to pretend that I would. Would I get 1? I think I'm getting 1, you know? Like, I think I'm getting a handful, and especially if I'm trying to get a handful of kills. I mean, let's be honest. If I spawn into a CDL match, I've probably accepted that my team is losing that map. So, you know, I might just be playing for a couple of kills in there to at least keep it respectable. Although, maybe it's more respectable to just soak kill time, get 2 kills, but have 2 minutes in the hill. But if you still lose, then you still lose. So, into your thoughts in the comments below. I think Scrappy's handled it quite well. I know that there would have been days where he might have got a bit butthurt over these neck jokes, but you know, he's leaning into it now. He's leaning into the 6 and 19 thing. I think Scrappy's handling things better and better actually as time goes on. It's nice to see, but he's still painted himself as a bit of a villain in the scene with everything that happened over GAs and everything recently as well. And obviously Thieves against OpTic is going to continue to be a great rivalry. As it stands, Thieves are 4th in the league, OpTic is 2nd. I think OpTic, yeah, they are 2nds. Well, FaZe actually in the regular season standings have 50 points, don't they? And Ravens have 60. But OpTic have 60 as well because they got 10 points in the minor. Whatever, let's disregard the minor points for now and just look at the major 1 qualifier standings. So Thieves are 4-1, 14-8 map counts. OpTic are 5-1, 17-9 map counts. Toronto are 6-0, 18-8 map count, which is pretty good map count. But you know, over 6 series, they've lost 8 maps, which is probably about right, I guess, for a team in that kind of position. But they've still had some close series in there for sure. Some 3-2s, that's happened plenty of times, certainly against a team like the Minnesota Rocker. But Thieves are in 4th, OpTic are in 2nds. And as I say, OpTic play their final game against none other than Toronto this upcoming weekend. So that's going to be a big one. FaZe are at 2 and 3, but FaZe's games, I think they play Cloud9 and I think they play Boston. I think those are the 2 games they play anyway. So the Cloud9 one, they should very much win. The Boston one, they should very much win. But who knows right now. So that's how things currently stand. And just to look at the schedule, actually, yeah, I do have the schedule. So I could just tell you guys who they play. So Thieves, they play Miami and Boston. And Boston have a tough weekend. They play day 1 FaZe, and they play Sunday against Thieves. So it's going to be a telling weekend for Boston, absolutely guaranteed, because they're currently 5th at 4-1. If they get to 4-3, look, they're still going to start in winners. But it's obviously, if you get 4-3 for Boston, you might play a very good team in the first round, which is probably not what you want. So if you're Boston, you'd probably like to win one of those 2 series. Thieves Boston, I think, is especially interesting. Ravens potentially have a good weekend to bounce back on. They play Surge and they play in Miami, but I will say from start to finish this weekend, there are lots of very interesting games in it. Even this Saturday, Vegas Falcons versus Gentlemates, like that is 11th versus 12th, basically. So if there's another chance for Falcons to win a series, it might be that one. But very much interested in your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.